Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ruach Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And in this lesson, I'm gonna, hopefully I can play a video without, getting my channel hurt for that. But I came across this video, which was pretty disturbing. So viewer discretion is advised. But you had one of the parades, right? The alternative lifestyle parades, where now I believe in the caption it said that they had children over there, and this isn't the start of it. I mean, this isn't the first time they've done that, but you can see this is basically the direction in which they're sort of pushing it in, right? This like extreme perverse direction. But you pretty much had completely, unclothed individuals walking in the street, whatever, just right. You gotta be cautious in how you even speak on these kinds of things. But I just wanted to get a couple of precepts just to show, because this is a part of the things that are going against the ways of the Heavenly Father, right? And what part of the reasons why the Heavenly Father is going to bring the judgment that He's going to bring upon Babylon the Great. So I'm going to start off here. Lowell, and won't be a long video, but still get the point across. This is Isaiah chapter 3, verse 12, and then I'll jump to the tab. And what I'll try to do is maybe post it in the comments, if you want to, go and see that. It says here, as for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. No, that's not the one. Slakia. The one I'm looking for is, verse 9. The shoe of their countenance doth witness against them, and they declare their sin as Sodom. They hide it not. And that is a perfect example of them declaring their sin as Sodom and not hiding it. Woe unto their soul, for they have rewarded evil unto themselves. So basically, and matter of fact, I'm not actually even going to play it. I'll just keep the still on here. You get the gist of what's going on here, right? And this, right, says completely unclothed goers in Canada march in front of young children, right? And that's the question: how is this legal? How is this legal? Because think about it, right? When you go on YouTube itself, there are some videos that they have, like, even when you're publishing a video, it'll tell you like, is this made for children? Or like some videos are like anybody under the age of 18 or whatever, can't watch it, or you need to prove that you're over 18 to watch it. That's the same reason they put ratings on video games and movies, right? Rated E for everyone, PG-13, rated R, and then so on and so forth. So now, if you're at the point where you just have this going on out here in public, right, in front of little children right there, as it says, they declare their sin as Sodom, they hide it not. Okay? And the scriptures tell you, right, there's a reason why the Lord said what He said in Leviticus 20 and 13. This is in the law of the scriptures, right? For a country that is a so-called God-fearing country, that portray as though they follow the ways of the Heavenly Father, which their actions do otherwise. This is what it says in the scriptures, right? If a man also lie with mankind as he lieth with a woman, both of them. So how do you lie with a woman? It doesn't mean that you're just going, you're just laying there talking to them. It's obviously, we both understand what this means, right? In the well, there you go. It's pretty blatant here in the NLT, right? If a man practices Moism, laying with another man as with a woman, both men have committed a detestable act. They must both be taken to the spirit world, for they are guilty of a capital offense. That's what's written in the scriptures. Okay. And yet you have, who was it? I think a couple of years ago, you had a priest that the first openly alternative lifestyle priest or something like that. I forget exactly where it was, maybe in the Catholic Church or somewhere like that. But I mean, that's it doesn't even make sense, because in the very book in which you claim your belief is based on, it says otherwise. So let me bring this out here as well. This is 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 6. And it reads, "And turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them with an overthrow, making them an ensample," meaning an example, "unto those that after should live ungodly." What was happening in Sodom and Gomorrah that led to this destruction here, right? This overthrow that they were condemned with. When you go and you read during the time of Abraham and Lot, as it says in the next verse, "And delivered just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked." The word conversation here goes into, it's not just what they're talking about. All right. The Greek word anastrophe means manner of life, conduct, behavior. And what they were doing, their manner of life, their conduct, their behavior over there in Sodom and Gomorrah is likened unto what they're doing here today. They were doing their alternative lifestyle behavior over there, right? Very likely dealing with committing acts of bestiality and so on and so forth, which in the law it tells you that you're not supposed to do that. And the reason why it says that, they're going to be taken to the spirit world for that is so you wouldn't have situations like this where now the youth or the children are now being exposed to things like this. All right. That doesn't amount to a let's just say a God-fearing society. And when you don't have a God-fearing society, you have an abundance of sin, and eventually you end up in a case where the Lord brings judgment, as is mentioned here in 2 Peter 2 and 6. And so when you go back, right, one example is during the time of Lot, when you had the angels, because they were doing this, right? They were doing these things for a period of time. And the Lord sent angels to come in and basically see, like, is this as bad as I'm basically getting the reports of? And when they went there, they say, yeah, it's shit. It might be worse. But when the angels came there and Lot took them into his house, those demons over there in Sodom and Gomorrah, those neighboring cities there, mainly Sodom and Gomorrah, they wanted to basically have relations with the angels, right? Which we know those angels were men. And so the things that happened back then, it's blatantly written here in the scriptures, letting you know that, hey, this is what happens when you live like this and when you do this. And this is what the Heavenly Father does as a result. So in the future, if anybody is considering this, what you should also consider in addition is what the Lord ended up doing as a result of those actions, right? For everything, there are consequences. But these are all a part of the reasons and the signs of us being in the last days. The Most High is not going to allow a world like this to continue on without being judged, right? Without being reset. Okay, because this is it's wickedness at an all-time high. And as a matter of fact, let me get one more real quick. What is that? It is Ecclesiastes 8 and 11. Right, because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. Now, you have like a little middle ground with society today, because if somebody commits murder, right, or somebody like commits a crime, the sentence is not executed right away, but eventually they get got, right, for the most part. You go and you shoot somebody, they call the cops. You'll be on the run, but you'll get caught, right? Whether you escape for a day, a week, or whatever the case is, you end up getting caught, and then they go and cast judgment upon you. So you can say there's like a lag between the evil work and the sentence against it, and often in most cases here, as to where you have situations where and that's when you break like these laws of the land. And then you have situations where, say, the second you did something, you would be judged right away. let's say, for example, the second, like if this wouldn't even be judgment from man. Let's say the Most High just judge people right away by like striking you with a lightning strike or something. People would think twice, or they wouldn't even think about doing these wicked acts, right? Because here's an example: when you jump into acid, or if you jump off of a tall building, there's no lag between your the consequence and the action. If you jump into fire, you're not going to wait a couple of hours or a couple of days before you feel the burn. If you jump off of a tall building, you're not going to wait a week or two before you finally have to feel the effects of that. You're going to feel it right away. So why do you think people don't just go and jump off of buildings or just jump into fire or jump into acid? They know exactly what's going to happen to them right when they fall there. So if anything, they will do anything in their power to avoid a situation like that. But how come when the scriptures say that if you commit adultery, right, that's a sin worthy unto death, or even Leviticus 20 and 13, that's a sin worthy unto death, and yet people do it. They do it, they blatantly go ahead and do it. But they won't take that same energy when it comes to jumping into fire. Why? Because of Ecclesiastes 8 and 11. Because in their minds, there's nothing wrong with it. Why? Because if they do it, nothing bad happens to them right away. But let's say the roles were reversed. Let's say the second you committed an abominable act, immediately you were struck by lightning. Immediately you just dropped dead. Immediately some painful judgment came upon you. If that was commonly known, people would look with fear upon these sinful acts, the same way they look with fear upon jumping off of a building or jumping into fire or jumping into a pit full of alligators, right? Or a lion's den. But little did they know that even though, as it says here, let me read the full precept, Ecclesiastes 8 and 11, because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily. So you do the evil, but you're not judged right away. Therefore, the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. So in their minds, they're like, it's okay. I can do whatever I want to do. Nothing is going to happen to me. So they've deceived themselves to think that it's okay to continue, doing the things that displease the Heavenly Father. But ultimately, right, the Heavenly Father is going to bring that judgment, and they're not going to escape. So eventually, he's going to catch up to you. And at this point, there's so much evidence piled against you. It's like when the FBI roll up on your ass. There's so much evidence piled up against you that, you can't escape the judgment to come. So I just wanted to go into that real quick because people try to, they try to act ignorant of the fact that there's a unsurpassable amount of wickedness that's going on in the world today. And yet when you mention the judgment the Lord is going to bring, all of a sudden, that's the most evil thing in the world. There's no reason the Lord should do something like that. And yet you look around you and there's reasons all around. So anyway, Lord willing, that was edifying and not too disturbing onto the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Rachak Kudash. And until next time, Shalom.